The news about Xin suddenly dominated all the media headlines. Ziyu and Zhufei were very angry about this. Zhufei even went to his grandfather several times to question the cause, but Ziyu stopped him. Ziyu knew very well that it was Grandpa, deliberately trying to protect himself and sacrifice his dad, so going to confront him now would only make him angry. Instead of this, it's better not to say a word honestly and even go to Oru's Hill with Mother as planned early tomorrow morning. As for how to help Dad come back, Ziyu had her own plan in mind. It's just that now she has to wait patiently for the opportunity. At the same time, the He family evacuated all the masters in the Su family overnight. The patriarch Luther He, Ruoli's grandfather, directly ordered internally that the children of the He family must not do anything for the Su family until the Su family gave a clear explanation. At the same time, he also called Changfeng and asked the Su family to give him a clear explanation. Changfeng promised, but in reality, he didn't pay attention to him at all. At the moment he just wants to keep his reputation. As for whether Luther will turn his face with him, he doesn't care at all. After all, after his cooperation with the self-defense forces was exposed, he knew that no matter if this matter was carried out by himself or Xin, the He family could no longer serve the Su family. That being the case, why continue to waste energy on the He family? This night, Ruoli, who was under residential surveillance at the Isik Hotel, did not know what was happening outside. She was lying on the soft and luxurious big bed in the hotel, tossing and turning, and everything in her mind was Charlie's figure. She couldn't figure out why this man had such a strong strength. Even more, can't figure out why this man saved her life. After that, I rushed to kill him at the time. Instead of retaliating against me, he saved my life. Is this what people mean to retaliate with virtue? Thinking about it, that man is really extraordinary. Early the next morning, a private jet landed in the peaceful ancient city of Oru's Hill. This plane is the private plane of Renal, the son of Du's family. Leona did not want to take the Su family's plane anymore, so her eldest brother Renal sent her his own plane. After the plane stopped, Leona, who was nervous, walked down the spiral staircase, accompanied by a pair of children. In her heart, she has been thinking about Oru's Hill for nearly 20 years. For 20 years, she would sleep with Changying's name silently every day. When she thought of Changying, she couldn't help thinking of Oru's Hill. Changying is the love of her life. Back then, Changying died in Oru's Hill, but now she finally has the opportunity to come to cherish her memory, and it is naturally difficult to calm down in her heart. As soon as a family of 3 arrived at the arrival hall of the airport, a middle-aged man respectfully greeted her and said, "Miss, you must be exhausted." It was an old housekeeper from the Du family in Oru's Hill. Leona met him when he was still young. In the past 2 decades, the old housekeeper has been taking care of the old house in Oru's Hill. Leona also married the Su family, so the two have never met again. However, Leona recognized him at a glance, and said respectfully, "Uncle White, long time." After finishing speaking, she hurriedly instructed the pair of children next to her, "Zhufei, Ziya, hurry up and meet Grandpa White." Zhufei and Ziyu hurriedly said respectfully, "Hello, Grandpa White." The old butler hurriedly bowed to thank her, and then flattered Leona said, "I didn't expect the second lady to remember me." Leona smiled and said, "Why won't I remember? You used to be in charge of the house next to Prince Gong's mansion in East Cliff. Later, after the father donated the house to the National Museum, you came to Oru's Hill." The old butler nodded repeatedly and said with emotion, "After I came to Oru's Hill, I went back to East Cliff twice a year to report to my master, but every time I went in a hurry, I hurried back after the report, so I never saw you again." As he said, he couldn't help sighing. "Oh, the second lady, you haven't been to Oru's Hill for more than 20 years, right? I remember that before you got married, you would come to visit the old lady every year, and then you didn't come back much." Leona nodded and said, "I haven't been here since Changying passed away in Oru's Hill." The old housekeeper was startled when he heard the words, and he couldn't help but sighed. "You said young Master Changying was such as talent?" Leona asked him. "By the way, Uncle White, you were in Oru's Hill before Changying's accident." Do you know anything about that year? The old housekeeper said with a grimace. When Mr. Changying came to Orr's Hill, the master told me that he said that Mr. Changying was coming. Maybe there was some conflict with his family, plus the Eastcliff side. He was under a lot of pressure, so he came to Orr's Hill to relax. He asked me to find Mr. Changying, invited his family of 3 to live in the old house for a few days, and asked me to tell Mr. Changying that if he wanted, their family of 3 could stay in the old house. Treat the old house as your own home. Leona asked quickly. Then what then? Did they come here? The old butler shook his head and said, young Master Changying came here by himself, but he just visited and asked me to thank him, but he didn't agree to stay. Leona asked again. Then did he say anything? The old butler thought for a moment and said, at that time, young Master Changying said that he also encountered something and did not want to cause trouble to the Du family, so he thanked him and left. Leona nodded in a sense of disappointment, with melancholy for a while. At this time, the old butler was busy and said again, by the way, miss, let's stop talking here. The car is waiting outside. Let's go home first. Leona nodded and said, okay Uncle White, let's go home first. Outside the airport, 3 cars are parked side by side. Leona said to Jufei and Ziyu, Jufei, Ziyu, sit in the back car, I'll sit in the middle car, and chat with your grandfather White by the way. The brothers and sisters naturally agreed to come down and board the last red flag. The old housekeeper opened the back row of the red flag car in the middle for Leona, and after Leona got in, he got into the co-pilot. As the convoy left the airport, Leona asked the old butler, Uncle White, I want to ask you something. The old butler hurriedly said, second miss, just ask. Leona said, Uncle White, I heard people say that Changying came to Orr's Hill with his wife and children. Since he didn't want to live in our old house, where did he live in the end? The old housekeeper explained. Young Master Changying also likes the old mansion very much. At that time, he asked me to help him find it, so I asked a friend to find him a slightly remote old mansion. The house used to be the mansion of a great military ruler, but after escaping, it was handed over to others to take care of. After a long time, the house was abandoned, but Mr. Changying liked it very much, so he rented it and renovated it himself. Leona suddenly said with excitement, Uncle White, can you take me to see it?